Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Four Quarter Talk podcast with myself, Jack Brazil, and my co-host, as always, Josh Mazoke. Say what's up, Josh?
Yo, it's been a minute.
I feel like you say that every time.
Yeah.
It's your new catchphrase.
Yes, sir. But I mean, we're basically done with uni, so playoffs, bro. We're coming on the playoff energy now.
For real. And speaking of the playoffs, the NBA regular season ended last night with some quite entertaining games. Most notably that Warriors-Grizzlies game for the whoever won that got the 8th seed, and it was the Warriors behind Steph Curry's 46 points. And
same with the other side on the East with the Hornets versus the Wizards.
Yeah,
that game was stressful. That game was stressful, man.
Yeah, we put out a tweet, didn't we, saying about the Wizards' record in April versus how they managed to reclaim their season. It's crazy, and a lot of that is behind Russ's, his intensity in his play. But before we get into the play-in and the playoffs, we're quickly going to just mention what happened in the Hall of Fame the other night. The 2020 class being inducted, led by Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, and the late great Kobe Bryant. Josh, did you catch Natalia Bryant's speech?
Yeah. I watched
not Natalia, Vanessa, sorry.
Yeah, like that speech, man. Like every time I think I'm over it, like I'll never be over it, but like the emotions kind of gone. Like Vanessa's speech just had me in my feels, man. Yeah. And like how strong
when Natalia put on his jacket as well.
Oh yeah, just that whole display of them when they were at his exhibit, like with Capri, just all of them there. Like, man, like she's so strong because that had me tearing up, and like the way she got through that speech without stopping once.
Yeah,
like,
she's probably rehearsed it hundreds of times, like trying to get through it. Yeah, man,
that's strength right there, and we were robbed of one of the greatest public speakers I've ever seen. We were robbed of one of his speeches, which would have been probably an all-time great speech, but Vanessa more than stepped up to the plate.
Yeah, you can see that a bit of Kobe obviously rubbed off onto her.
Absolutely,
with that. Just that
it's always great to hear that other side of Kobe. We'll never know that side of him, but just as a family man and just the competitive spirit between them two, between Vanessa and Kobe. Of her being that person that puts him in his place. So it's dope to see. Honestly, it's dope.
Yeah, so it's a lovely reminder of the legacy of Kobe Bryant and how great he was, and the Hall of Fame was made for people like Kobe Bryant. And shout out to Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan as well, fully deserving as well. 5-time champion Tim Duncan and Kevin Garnett, 1-time champion, I think.
Yeah, 1 time, but the way that 2008 squad talk about it,
that's why I thought they might have
you think
they're always going on
Russell Celtics.
Yeah. And then next year you've got Paul Pierce going into the Hall of Fame as well. So
he's gonna turn up, man.
Yeah. You might be going weed that day. Who knows?
Also, real quick, shout out to Kwame Brown, man. Shout out to Kwame.
I saw that.
I don't even want to go into it.
If you don't know what we're talking about, just Google his name or go on
Google
Twitter.
His name, put it in Twitter and YouTube.
Yeah,
man.
He was wilding
for people.
Yeah.
So he's a Becky with a good hair. Anyway, move on.
Yeah, moving on from that. Obviously a great night there for basketball, seeing those 3 legends inducted into the Hall of Fame. But let's talk about the end of the season and this new play-in tournament, which is going to be played tomorrow night as we're recording, Tuesday night. Starts with the Eastern Conference, I believe.
Yep.
And let's break it down if there's anyone who doesn't really know what the play-in tournament is about. So the NBA has introduced this new format where the 7, 8, 9, and 10 seeds will all get the opportunity to play for their playoff status. It starts with the 7-8 matchup, and the winner of that will be automatically into the playoffs as the 7th seed. If you lose that game, you'll go to face the winner of the 9-10 game. And then obviously if you lose the 9-10 game, you're out. Your season is done. And then the winner of that game, of that last game, gets that final 8th seed and will go up against the number 1 seed in the conference. And those teams in the respective conferences I'll take you through them now. In the East, you've got 7th seed Celtics, who will play the 8th seed Wizards in the first game. And then you have the 9th seed Pacers, who will play the 10th seed Hornets. And then in the West, you have the 7th seed Lakers. We wouldn't have predicted that at the start of the season. Taking on the 8th seed Warriors, which looks like a real juicy matchup. Steph Curry hitting his stride at the exact right time.
Look, that matchup and having, Westbrook, Bradley Beal, LaMelo Ball, and Ja Morant is the reason why you get used to this tournament.
Yeah, and then
it's not going anywhere.
And then 9-10 matchup is Grizzlies Spurs.
Yeah. Matchup is not going anywhere. This format is not going anywhere.
Josh, I don't think we even need to. I don't think I even need to ask this question. But which matchup are you looking forward to the most out of those?
Well, it has to be that Lakers Warriors one, which the league has been salivating over for I don't know how long, since LeBron and AD got hurt. I mean, that's the matchup we wanted to see. We wanted to see Steph Curry come in with his hot play and wreak havoc, see if he can mess up a few, just mess up the order in the West. We're wanting Curry explosion away from, him upsetting the whole cart here in the Western Conference and snatching the 7th seed, which that's kind of what I want to see, to be honest. I want to see the Warriors take that 7 and the Lakers just win, that lot, just for the extra drama of it.
Yeah, that would be. You obviously want to see the Lakers in the playoffs because you want to see the best teams on the biggest stage. But I think that would be, would cause up a lot of headlines if Steph Curry was able to take down LeBron in a playing game. Like these are two players that were meeting on the biggest stage of them all just 3 seasons ago, and here they are now in the playing game.
Damian Lillard, the Blazers were fighting not only for that guy's house, but they were fighting for their lives, because I know they would have blown the whole thing up if they dropped to 7 and had to play the Warriors again, and Steph Curry by himself ended the Blazers season again. You probably have to move them to Seattle or something. I don't know.
I think Dame would just tear up his contract right there.
Yeah.
I think that's the one thing that would make him leave Portland, probably.
Yeah, Dame would be he'd be a Laker by July.
It's crazy how tight it was though. Like the 5, 6, and 7 seed all finishing on 42 and 30. Obviously, tiebreakers coming into play there. But yeah, it could have easily been the Trailblazers who faced off against the Warriors, but they got the job done on the final night and saved that guy's house. So I don't know how much truth there was to that story, but if that was an incentive for them, it clearly worked. And the crazy thing is, like, they had to win. I think at one point they had to win like 9 of their last 10 for the guy to keep his house. Like, see, because they had that really cold streak. And then it was looking like they weren't going to hit a 42.
Yeah, I think they won. I think they won 10 or 12 to get there. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Crazy. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I saw something and it was he bet like $200 or something. So
okay.
It kind of ruins the story a little bit, but
hey, they should put Terry Stott's house up for sale. For the playoffs, and if they don't if they don't make it past the first round.
The thing is, we have a lost episode from last week that never made it out, but it was just a lot of coach slander.
Yeah,
and maybe one day if we blow, we'll just make it a nice little bonus episode. But yeah, there was a lot of slander going around in that one, and Terry Stotts and Scott Brooks, he's gonna survive because of Westbrook and his efforts, which isn't great, but. Hey,
Westbrook has been keeping coaches in jobs for years, bro. He's doing it with Billy Donovan.
It's so frustrating, him and LeBron. Like,
you might as well give Ross the clipboard at this point.
He has had the clipboard a few times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, obviously that Lakers Warriors matchup looks very, very appealing. But this Celtics Wizards one as well. I'm very interested to see how this goes, because the Celtics had an underwhelming season by their standards. They were expected to be a top 4 seed, building on their conference finals run last year, and they whether it was due to injuries or poor chemistry issues. They did have injuries, but so did everyone else in the league. They finished at 500 at 36 and 36, and find themselves in a position they didn't want to be in, which is the play-in tournament. So they're going to have to play that extra game, or maybe possibly even extra 2 games without Jaylen Brown, who has helped them through so much of the season.
I think what I've heard from most fans is that they just want the Wizards to put them out of their misery now.
Yeah, but surely you want Jason Tatum to get a few more playoff moments. And look, I back the Celtics against the Pacers or the Hornets as well. But then again, I'm saying that, but it is a 1-game do or die scenario in those instances. So anything can literally happen. That's why I wanted the Bulls to get in there, because maybe Zach LaVine gives you 50 and you get in the playoffs. But
the Bulls can't play until their season's over. Then when they go up 12-0 against the big 3 Nets. The Bulls, win. By the way, the same Bulls that won the trade deadline.
Hey, just wait on us next season, man. The trade was for next season, not this one. just wait on us.
The trade was for next season. Then why'd you give up this year's pick?
It's top protected. We have a 26% chance of keeping that pick. 26% chance of keeping that pick. If we keep that pick, I will eat this. I will eat this microphone.
We're talking about playoff teams here. Let's go.
Oh, that's why we're not talking about the Thunder. Okay, cool, got you.
It is. And then speaking of the Thunder, though, the Clippers ducking the Lakers, messing up our pick, but we're moving.
Hey, when Poku scores 29, there's not much you can do.
The game winner.
Yeah, not much you can do.
Wow.
But Celtics Wizards, that looks like a great series. Wizards are probably like the hottest team in the league over the past month.
That is the must-watch game, just because the Wizards, they're never gonna win convincingly. They're gonna make you sweat through it. Like last night, they were down by 10 plus going into the fourth quarter, and I was thinking this is over. And then Russ has his, no, why would you shoot that? Oh shit, he went in it was like, no, why would you shoot? Let's go! He has too many of those shots. Bill's health is a concern, because yesterday he was looking like a decoy for most of the game. He turned up a bit in the second half, but he started something.
I thought he was about to be shooting every shot to try and get that scoring title, but obviously he's not healthy.
Yeah, he was shooting terribly. He was shooting absolutely terribly, and he didn't have a chance. And then Curry just goes and scores 46 anyway, because I think Bill needed he needed.
The funny thing about Curry is he knew. So prior to the game, he knew he had the title. But he was still shooting like he had something, like he had to win it. Like he was shooting everything. He was shooting everything.
I think though, just to talk about that quickly, because we didn't really go into the actual details that much. The Warriors matchup will be interesting because you have players that are stepping up now. It's not just a Curry show. You got Jordan Poole, who's kind of emerging as a player there.
He's a nice scorer.
He's scoring nicely. Draymond Green is putting together some games that are actually showing up on the stat sheet as well.
Yeah.
Even though his impact goes beyond that, but he's displaying defensive player of the year type defense, but also his playmaking has been great the last few days. He had a near triple-double yesterday, I think, as well. So that would be an interesting matchup, with taking advantage of the Lakers' lack of chemistry, their injury issues. So that would be very interesting to see. But with the Wizards are such an outlier. They won so many. Obviously, they went 17-6, but they rarely have a game where you're comfortable. There's not many Wizards fans that could just turn off the game and just go leave knowing that they're gonna win that game. They make you go to those last moments for sure. So I'm hoping Beal in these 2 days of rest that he has can get up there, because I need a Nets Wizards series.
Yeah, we need to see that, man. Imagine if Russ was the one to stop this big three.
Yeah, there's just too many dynamics. Firstly, we need a Russ. We need a Russ KD playoff series. All the intensity of all their matchups, especially when he was still with OKC, it would just be crazy. But then also just how well Russ plays against them every time.
Yeah.
And then the offense of those two teams, Yeah, we need that, man. We need that.
There will be zero defense played in that series.
None.
It'd be like 150, 140 every game.
Every game.
Yeah.
Every game.
Speaking of the Nets, did you see that play last night?
Oh, damn. Like, that was like scary.
That was like prime Lob City Clippers days. That's what that reminded me of.
That actually reminded me of a play that the Warriors had.
Yeah. It's when Steph Curry threw it behind his back on the.
It's almost like completely identical, actually. Yeah, but now they're just looking scary because unlike what I was talking about with the Lakers and their chemistry issues, the Nets, who that big three Nets squad has played like 8 games together. Yeah. They seem to have chemistry regardless every time they play. Like it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't matter how long Harden's out for, 19 games. KD can be out for several games, but they still find a way to just flow offensively. So yeah, they're just scary. They don't make sense. And then they're adding players that are just playing a great role. Blake Griffin, he should be sued by the city of Detroit. Like that doesn't make any sense.
It's almost like he got like a knee transplant when he moved to the Nets.
All of his athleticism is back.
Yeah.
Like at first he was doing like some light dunks and like everyone's overreacting. I was like, come on, man. Like
there must be something in that Brooklyn water, man.
That was getting some posters, like come on, man. Like
it just shows when you're happy in a situation.
An underrated player is a player that's been playing overseas in Europe, but because I watch Swiss coaches, shout out Swiss coaches, they show a lot of like his runs and stuff. But Mike James, he's one of the best one-on-one scorers in the league. Like,
he torched us the other day as well. He torched us.
He is a bucket.
Yeah,
like, he is a bucket, and the Nets are not short on that. So it's just
and they just picked him up out of nowhere. Like they just picked up another piece for cheap that's going to help them win this title
you got Spencer Dinwiddie doing like 40-inch box jumps now, looking like he's progressing. That's what pisses me off. Like every time I think about how unfair the squad is, I just remember that they got Spencer Dinwiddie just sitting there like waiting to come next year. That
just another piece of the puzzle,
just like
another guy who can
candidate.
Another guy who can score 15, just something like if the Nets put together a whole season where they're all healthy, scary. But saying that, I don't want to get into too much playoff talk in this one because we're going to leave that for when all the dust is settled with the play-in tournament. Let's go into our predictions for each playing game. So, Josh, let's start in the East. Who do you think is going to win that first 7-8 matchup between the Celtics and the Wizards?
I got the Wizards. Ooh. I just think, I think they're just going to ride the momentum that they've been going on. They're the hottest team in the league. They're one of the hottest teams, at least in the league. And they've got that duo there. Like now, this would be a lot of. I wouldn't pick the Wizards if the Celtics had Jaylen Brown, but it would still be kind of close to me just because of the momentum that they're riding and how everyone's fitting. So the fact that Jason Tatum's on his own.
No Kemba Walker either.
Yeah, and you just see the way they've been trending. I think the Celtics are kind of throwing in the towel. Like they didn't even play a lot of their healthy players the last couple games. So
I was seeing Taco Fall getting dunked on. I was like, why is he even playing?
Exactly.
He got dunked on by Jake Layman.
Of all the people, because I remember when he was in college, when he was at UCF and Duke were playing them and Zion, they were hyping up, Zion. Can Zion dunk on?
Yeah.
Can Zion dunk on Jason Tate? I mean, can he dunk on him? I was like, and then it ends up being
Jake
Layman.
Yeah. You see celebration. He did not know how to celebrate. He was like, he's clearly never done that before.
Yeah, like D-Wade's can give that a 9 as well.
So you have the Wizards.
I got the Wizards.
I think it would be silly of me to also to not take the Wizards here, especially with the Celtics injury issues, and the Wizards coming in, on this hot streak. They got hot at the perfect time, the Wizards. So I'm also going to take the Wizards to win that game.
As Celtics Hall of Famer once said, anything is possible, especially when you got Scott Brooks at the helm. So you never know, man. You never know.
Yeah, but then you even put Brad Stevens on Fraud Watch, so.
Yeah, but there's levels
to Fraud Watch.
There's levels to this. Scott Brooks is there's tiers, man. There's tiers to this. All right.
Yeah.
Brad Stevens is in the Brad Stevens is in the
skeptical.
He's in the Budenholzer tier, yeah.
Ooh,
But
I think
Scott Brooks.
I think that's quite disrespectful to Brad Stevens.
Scott Brooks is in the Boylan tier.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, there's levels, man.
He's most
There's
wanted.
Disappointing. There's like not maximizing a contender, and then there's like just being bottom tier, one of the worst in the league.
Yeah, he's wanted in a few different countries. Scott Brooks. All right, so we both have the Wizards to win that playing game. Let's go on to the 9-10 matchup. The Pacers versus the Hornets. Pacers rolling into a little bit of form coming into the back end of the season. 5-5 in their last 10. Obviously, they've had their injury issues as well. But Sabonis looks great right now. He's hitting his stride right at the end of the season.
Shout out Karis LeVert. He's a bucket. He's definitely gone into his role, and like just his ability to bounce back from all these injuries and all these concerns, and especially career-threatening when they're life-threatening when he's in crazy form right now.
Yeah, obviously Malcolm Brogdon is still a bit of an injury concern. Hasn't played the last few games, so questions whether he'll be healthy for that game. Then on the Hornets side,
Bridges
blocking everything. Miles Bridges.
Yesterday, oh my goodness!
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Me. Like 3 blocks in like the first quarter. Like he was doing a lot, man.
But then obviously, no Gordon Hayward for the Hornets. Yeah, their leader, their most experienced playoff performer, Gordon Hayward. He's not going to be there. Do you think LaMelo's going to
be playing in a red state as well in Indiana? So that might come in handy. You might. Yeah.
He hits the game winner, pulls a Confederate flag out of his shorts.
Yeah, it'd be a home court advantage for him anyway. Right?
Yeah, but what's your prediction for this one? It's tough.
This one's definitely more difficult for me because even though they lost yesterday, the Hornets showed me a lot. Because obviously they don't have Hayward in there, so it's a lot of youth there. But the way they were able to rise up to the occasion, like they were just putting a lot of pressure on the Wizards, who needed a lot to come back from that. That was just Westbrook and Beal showing their superstar level, but they were not afraid of the moment. LaMelo was not afraid of the moment. PJ Washington, Miles Bridges, and I feel like that is a big thing you need in a do or die situation there. But obviously with the Pacers, with LeVert and Sabonis, they're stepping up too.
It's a very tight series.
Really difficult one, man. That is a really difficult one. And the fact it's a one gamer.
I feel like the Hornets are so hard to predict because when I look at them, a lot of the time they're either really hot or really cold. You don't really know which Hornets team you're going to get on any given night, especially since Gordon Hayward went down. Like they've got a lot of streaky players like Devontae Graham, Malik Monk, Terry Rozier, all very streaky. And I think a lot of their success depends on those players having good nights. So that's why I'm going to go for the Pacers. I just think, those two options in Sabonis and LeVert are a lot more reliable than those three I just listed. Obviously, LaMelo, you know what LaMelo's going to give you. And, I almost want to put the Hornets through just for Eric Collins, but I hope if they get bounced out of the play-in, like TNT, pick him up or something.
Exactly, yeah. We need him for the playoffs, man. We need him for the playoffs. It's give him Marv Olbert's seat, man.
Yeah, he's retired, isn't he? He's retired.
Yeah, after the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
Just give him his seat, man.
A little bit overdue.
I saw some wild comments about Marv Olbert, man.
Hey, man. At the end of the day, you can't deny he's had a good run at it.
Yeah, he's had a great career.
But it's like it's kind of like Arsene Wenger at Arsenal. Like he had a good run of it, and then he stayed a little bit too long.
Yeah,
kind of damaged his legacy a tiny bit.
That's why you kind of have to respect D Wade going out like he did.
Yeah,
like players that don't go out when it's too late. I don't see LeBron.
D Wade clawed his legacy back because those years in Chicago and Cleveland.
Chicago, it looked like he was gonna go out too late. And I was gonna say Cleveland, but he never played in Cleveland. Right, I don't care. He didn't play in Cleveland.
His biggest highlight in Cleveland is taking a knee when Gordon Hayward broke his ankle. That's what he's most remembered for.
That's all I see when I hear him in the couch. I just see this.
Yeah,
this hand on his face. But yeah, and then,
he definitely knew the camera was there. He definitely knew.
LeBron will definitely not go out too late. There's no way LeBron will ever let himself not look like a superstar in the league. There's no way.
Yeah,
absolutely no way. But yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards the Pacers as well, just because you have players there that are reliable, that have been in those moments, and I just trust Sabonis and LeVert more than you don't even know which two players are going to step up the most for the Hornets kind of rotating thing. So I'll go with the Pacers as well.
And let's stay with the East. So now it would be the Pacers versus the Celtics. From our predictions, so we've got the Wizards going through to the 7th seed, and they would face the Nets in the first round. And now we're left with the Celtics and the Pacers, who will play in this one-off do-or-die game to clinch that 8th seed and go against the 76ers in the first round. So Celtics, Pacers, who you got, Josh?
You mean Celtics, Hornets?
No, it's not Celtics, Hornets. Hornets, if they lose that game, they're out.
When we say... Oh, wait.
I said the Pacers to go through.
Oh, okay. All right, wait. Playing for 8th.
Yeah, playing for 8th.
Oh, all right.
Final playing game.
Yeah.
So it would be Celtics, Pacers. Who do you have in that? I think that's tough as well.
That is tough as well, man.
Yeah. I think if the Celtics were full health, I'd comfortably take them.
Yeah, definitely.
But because they're not and they're missing their number 2 and 3 options.
Because to me, I'm thinking Jason Tatum can win you a game by himself, but also just to like.
I think Sabonis can as well, though.
No, but what I was gonna say is just like the psychological thing of like we're literally at the end of our season right here. If we lose, I get a long off season and I just get to come back with a healthy squad. If I win, I get to get clapped up by the 76ers, who we have a rivalry with. Like, it's kind of like, how much are we going to really push for this here? But I'm going with the Pacers again. I'm gonna go with the Pacers. We're going battle of the bigs in the first round.
Okay, well, I'm looking at the Pacers' current healthy roster right now, and outside of LeVert, Sabonis, and TJ McConnell, maybe Doug McDermott, the rest of it looks very thin. Justin Holiday's not a bad player, but I just think like they have similar injury worries to the Celtics.
See the Celtics. What's the Celtics injury situation?
So the Celtics, that was their last game, so they're not going to play anyone majorly important. But yeah, obviously, as we said, Kemba Walker and Jaylen Brown are both out. Evan Fournier is healthy at the moment. Kemba Walker may come back. I think he's questionable to return soon. I'm going to go with the Celtics, and purely just off what you said, Jason Tatum.
LeVert had he left the game with a migraine yesterday as well. But
migraine, I don't think that will keep him out of.
It won't be that big of a deal. Yeah, especially at that point of the week.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Celtics to clinch that 8th seed. Just as you said, I think Jason Tatum is the type of player that can win you a game by himself. He's got that star power. I trust someone like Evan Fournier to, kind of back him up at least for one game. Evan Fournier is another very streaky player. So Evan Fournier,
Evan Fournier can play 2 games in a row. I swear, he's already.
I'm going with the Pacers. I'm joking.
All right.
I'm going with the Celtics. I just think I do actually rate Brad Stevens as a coach as well. I trust him to get it right.
I do hope that happens because I'd love to see Celtics and 76ers.
What's the situation on what's his name? Robert Williams. Is he out? Robert Williams. I think Robert Williams might be out. That's a big loss for them as well. This is an awful time to lose all these players. Jesus. I mean, if Taco Fall is having to guard Sabonis, if your big man rotation is Tristan Thompson, Luke Cornett, Taco Fall, and Jabari Parker, you're not playing a lick of defense. Sabonis might actually go for 70 just off layups. But I'm gonna go with the Celtics just to switch up. I don't want us to agree on everything. All right, should we move over to the West?
Yeah, let's go to the West.
Okay, the West. Obviously, as we said, that 7-8 matchup, Lakers Warriors. Then you got the 9-10 matchup, Grizzlies Spurs. Let's start with the Grizzlies Spurs. Who do you have going through in this one, Josh? Do you have Ja Morant or DeMar DeRozan?
I'm gonna go with the Spurs.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go with the Spurs. I think I just can't bet against the Spurs, man. I just think they're like, okay, we had our 1 year not in the playoffs, and yeah, that's it.
Cool.
They have so many players stepping up. You know, obviously DeMar, but they've got their young core that's just stepping up every game. You know, DeJounte Murray's putting together tremendous performances, kind of breaking out a bit there as well, and just the coaching that they have for this type of situation.
Keldon Johnson's also having a fantastic season.
Keldon Johnson's having a fantastic
season. Jakob Poeltl's very solid this season as well.
Yeah, there is another player, but he's slipping my mind.
Lonnie Walker?
It might be him. But I just trust that Coach Prop is going to have a tremendous game plan. You know, he's going to treat this like a playoff game. And he'll have them prepared. He'll have them very prepared. And I don't trust, I think Ja Morant's efficiency for a minute now hasn't been great.
He was chucking those threes against the Warriors, and he was not hitting.
That was not pretty, man. That was not pretty.
He thought he was Steph.
Yeah, and the players that they're relying on are all young players. Obviously, Valanciunas, he'll step up, but in terms of Jaren Jackson Jr., who's their second, supposed to be their second best player, and he's coming off injury still. So I just think the Spurs will take it.
I'm gonna go with the Grizzlies because I just like their grind, man. I know the Spurs are a grind out team, but I feel like the Grizzlies with the roster they've got a lot of unproven entities, and they've put together a really fantastic season. They can be proud of, like, even if they get bounced out in this playing game, they can be proud of their season. And I just like the way they know how to knuckle down and win a game, and they find a system to kind of exploit the other team's defense. And they're one of those teams when they're down 20, they're one of the teams I feel like who are most likely to come back from that, and they never drop their heads. And I think that'll suit them well in a one game elimination type of game. They'll just kind of knuckle down and get the result. And it's good that they're not so reliant on Ja as well, because he's had quite an up and down season, and they've still been able to consistently win some games. So Jonas Valanciunas is probably the most reliable player on that team. But you've got players like Dylan Brooks, who's coming into a bit of form as well, had a good season. D'Anthony Melton, Brandon Clark, Xavier Tillman, Justice Winslow. These are all very solid NBA players who work well in this system, and I think are going to lead the Grizzlies past the Spurs. I just think the Spurs, it's two kind of polar opposite teams. You've got quite an old team versus quite a young team. And I don't know. Because this is such a new format.
I mean, outside of DeMar, the Spurs are fairly young as well, aren't they?
Rudy Gay is quite old as well.
Yeah, they have older vets as well. I guess.
You got Patty Mills as well.
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess they're not too old.
Yeah, but Memphis is kind of just purely.
They're a grit and grind team, and I'm gonna use that against the Spurs. So I feel like the Grizzlies are gonna go through that one. But let's get into the juicy one here. Rematch not rematch because it's not the same teams, but LeBron versus Curry. We've heard this story so many times before. A rivalry that will go down in history. Kind of like MJ versus the Bad Boy Pistons and Isaiah Thomas, and MJ versus Stockton and Malone. LeBron v Curry is going to be the rivalry that defined this generation, and here they meet in the 7-8 matchup in the play-in tournament to secure that 7th seed. Now, Josh, which ways you go with this one? Do you bet against perhaps the greatest player of all time? Or do you side with the greatest shooter of all time who can go for 50 like that?
battle of the dodgy ankles, I guess. Shit. La Ankle, as Skip says, Skip is going crazy right now, but yeah, La Ankle himself. This is a tough one. I'm thinking, yeah, I know this probably isn't in their heads because it's the other teams ducking them. But just a question: who do you think the Lakers would rather play, Utah or Phoenix?
That's a tough question. I actually think Utah.
Same.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if that's gonna, because obviously more so than playing either one of them, which I'm sure them and we believe they would be either one of them.
Yeah.
It'd probably be more annoying. It's not enough of a difference to want to play an extra game for no reason. So obviously that's not going into it too much, but that was just interesting to me. But yeah, Curry is going off, obviously. He's had two near 50-point games in the last week. And players around him are stepping up. Now, the Lakers they're different because they finished the season, I think, on a winning streak, like their last few games. But
and they had LeBron back as well for that last one.
A lot of those games they didn't have either LeBron or AD or both. And to be honest, at this point of the season, like winning games without them two is not like, it doesn't mean anything because it's like it's even more. It goes more towards going against the chemistry that they're trying to build up.
Yep.
Curry can go off, and I believe the others around him can step up as well. But I just think the Lakers are just going to be too locked in. I really wanted to just pick the Warriors just to be like, to have a hot take here. But I think the Lakers are just going to look at it like, look, we want to give ourselves a week off. Let's go hard at this and let's win this game.
Yeah.
Here. Because I don't think there's any danger of the Lakers losing, like dropping out the playoffs, because they would easily beat Memphis or San Antonio. But I just think they want to give themselves the break with how banged up they are. So yeah, I think the Lakers they'll handle this convincingly.
Okay. Sure, I'm gonna go a slightly different route. I'm gonna go with the Warriors, and purely I'm going to go off chemistry reasons. Because when I look at the Lakers, obviously, they've had all these injuries. Slightly different team to what they had for their last playoff run. You got Andre Drummond in there, who's been, if we're being honest, quite underwhelming so far for the Lakers.
Who would have predicted that, man?
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like we told you. But you got those guys struggling.
Sorry, 1 second though. I don't want to. This isn't going to be a Drummond slander session, but just throw back to when they signed him. You had Lakers fans and even Jeannie Buss comparing it to signing Kareem. But let's move.
That's just so disrespectful to Kareem, right?
It was crazy. It was crazy. Moving on.
Yeah, like with these chemistry issues, and then I look at the Warriors. I was watching them last night. They look like one of the teams that understand each other the most, especially with Draymond Green running, kind of point guard there. He links everything together, and like it looks like everyone knows everyone's, tendencies and rotations on the court.
I was watching and just
their ball movement is sublime.
Yeah, just looking at the comparison from the start of the season, Steve Kerr runs a complex offensive system, which. We were kind of getting on him before because it was like you have a lot of young new players here, like you got to adapt to that. But throughout the season, they've got a hold of it, and just the gravity that Curry generates, it is insane. Every game there's a screenshot. There's a screenshot every game of him being, quadruple teamed. Like it is mad. And yeah, you just have a lot of players stepping up because that system is, it gives everyone a chance. Sometimes it's kind of to be criticized that it kind of gives everyone an equal chance because, you want Steph taking most of the shots. But I mean, the other day, I think he attempted the most shots he's ever attempted yesterday.
Yeah,
36 shots. So I guess, So yeah, he had that he had a scoring title wrapped up, but he was like, I want history to not even think it was close. So yeah. So yeah, I like the way that team's coming together, and throughout the year, behind Draymond, they've been a great defensive team the whole year. Behind Kelly, and so they've been a good team. I think, is Kelly injured?
Yeah, I think he might be.
I remember seeing something about that.
Yeah. But then you've got players like, as you said, Jordan Poole is rounding into form.
Yeah, he's definitely.
Andrew Wiggins is rounding into form. Who I think Andrew Wiggins has had a very good season. I mean,
very good season.
Yeah, Andrew Wiggins, obviously, in those first few seasons, he kind of set the precedent for himself maybe a bit too high, where people thought he was going to be this obviously Maple Jordan, whatever. But here in Golden State, he's fit into his role perfectly.
His defense has been insane, and
Draymond
doesn't get enough credit for his leadership, because I saw a play. So Andrew, I think Wiggins messed up on a defensive assignment, whether it was with boxing out or just pick and roll coverage, and then Draymond, he kind of screamed at him. And then the next play, he comes in and gets the putback dunk and like finishes with authority, and then he's hyping him up. So he's been pushing. It looks like Wiggins has been kind of Draymond's little project for the season, to kind of get the most out of him, to get his potential out of him, which is something we thought when he was originally traded there. We thought, if his potential is going to come out anywhere, it's going to be in Golden State with that culture, with Draymond there. So, and him being the defender he is going to be very important in this matchup in particular. Putting him on LeBron and having Draymond there as a player that is still a great defender, but also has the experience against LeBron. That will definitely be interesting for sure. This is not just some underdog thing where like, if Curry goes for 80, then they'll win. Like, there are legitimate pieces around in there now, and the way the offense works, that
really it doesn't have to be the Curry show for them to win.
No, it doesn't. Obviously, Curry has to have a great game, but they can exploit. They can definitely exploit them with their chemistry and with that system. Yeah, and
I just like to see how this kind of battered and bruised Lakers team will be able to move with that pace of offense. Like
this is the most vulnerable they'll be. This is the most vulnerable the Lakers will be, because if they can get through this game and like have their chemistry, find some chemistry throughout this period, then by the time they get into a playoff series, then they'll probably be in groove. But right now, they've had them in and out. This is definitely a vulnerable position for them.
Yeah, for sure. So I think I'll go with the Warriors to upset the Lakers and secure that 7th seed. I really want Klay Thompson to just like Royal Rumble style. Just suit up for.
Oh man, there's this fake page. There's this page that's like pretends to be NBA Central.
Yeah.
That said that he got upgraded to questionable, and I was like, oh shit, and then I saw it.
It's not gonna happen, but that would be
it won't. He gonna be that.
And just watch, man. He would probably come out and just shoot like 10 for 10 or something from free.
Yeah. Just tell him it's game 6. Tell him it's game 6. He'll come out. He'll drop a quick 40. But yeah, and I'd love to see the Curry versus CP3 in the first round as well. That would be great.
So that leaves us with, on your side of the bracket, you have the Spurs going against the Warriors for that 8th seed. So just quickly, who do you think could win that game?
Oh yeah, Warriors got that.
Got that. And on my side, I would have the Lakers versus the Grizzlies. And obviously, I would have to back the Lakers there. I mean, I think it'd be a step too far for the Grizzlies. But I do think they'd give them a good game. But the Lakers,
I don't know if they would give them a good game. I think if the Lakers... This isn't on the Grizzlies. I just feel like if the Lakers got themselves in that position, which is what I believe they're already going to have this mindset right now, to not, because they don't want to even be in that position. But once they go to that position, they would be like, "Come on, we're repeating champ. We're going for a repeat right now. Like we're just gonna, from the start of this game, just absolutely, show."
I don't know. I just feel like the Grizzlies aren't a team that just will let themselves be trampled over. But having said all that, that means we'll go through it one more time. So in the East, we have the Wizards being the 7th seed. With, I think you had the Pacers being the 8th seed, right?
Yeah.
And I had the Celtics being the 8th seed. So that would set up some juicy matchups there. As we said, it would be Nets Wizards. And then for me, it would be Celtics Sixers, who obviously have a long-standing rivalry. And Pacers 76ers, not really, kind of just a bonus for Embiid, I guess. But
76ers fans are probably praying for that matchup, for that Boston matchup.
Yeah, so they can finally get one over on them.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're not going to care that they're weakened.
To be fair, didn't the Celtics beat the 76ers last year with Ben Simmons out?
I'm not sure.
I think Embiid was hurt like a little bit, like Hayward as well.
Yeah.
This was last season, first round last season, I think. So
roles reversed almost.
Yeah.
And then in the West, I have the Warriors being the 7th seed with the Lakers being the 8th seed, which would set up a Warriors-Suns matchup, which would be very what am I trying to say? Very interesting. That would be very interesting. Because, I think the Warriors could give them a good series. I genuinely think the Warriors could give them a good series. And then
they definitely could.
And then I'd have the Lakers-Utah in the first round, which would be Utah's worst nightmare. After this great historic season where I saw a stat they made 10 plus threes in all their games.
Yeah, every game. Yeah.
Just to possibly get bounced by the Lakers in the first game.
I remember way back in our earlier episodes, I think it might have been the Stock one or maybe a different one, but we talked about the Jazz and we were like, oh, the Jazz aren't going to be able to keep up this historic 3-point pace, and they have.
Yeah, fair play to them. I just know Lakers fans they'd be running with this "We Believe Lakers."
They're ready to roll with that, especially if they were to lose to the Clippers.
And then you would have you have the Lakers at 7 and the Warriors at 8, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But imagine working this hard, like to be a higher seed in the West, and your reward is either a red hot Curry or the reigning champs.
Yeah.
That's tough.
That is tough, but that's the beauty of the NBA Play-In Tournament. It's going to create some first-round matchups that are a lot tighter than we've kind of ever seen, I think, which is going to be great.
Because normally after that first game normally you're only really watching like one game of the first round, really.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're just like, all right, let's get to the second round, because it's usually like either a sweep or just a gentleman's sweep.
Yeah, we're used to first-round matchups being like Toronto versus the Magic, like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I remember when the Magic stole game 1.
The Raptors can never win game 1. So.
Yeah. And then I remember, didn't the Magic stole game 1 from the Bucks last season as well? I'm pretty sure.
I think so. I just remember the DJ Augustine game.
Yeah, against the Raptors.
Yeah, that was funny.
But look, we can't wait to cover these playoffs.
Cannot wait
to watch it. Make sure to tune into the Four Quarter Talk podcast to get your fix. But that's all we have time for today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for liking, even though no one does. And thank you for all 29 of you for subscribing. We're out. Peace.